Well, hello there. Thank you for joining us here at Coolest Life. My name is Tony, and I hope you can hear me just fine because I'm outside at an RV park, as you can see. And I want to talk to you about buying your first RV and some of the things maybe you didn't know and some of the things you need to know, especially about RV manufacturing, RV dealers, and those sort of things. Some of the things that I've learned, and I want to give you a little bit of history about what makes me such an authority on buying and selling RVs and what RVing is all about. So come along and join us, because you just don't know what you're going to find out, because there's some things you really need to know, really need to think about. So join us here at Coolest Life, because you just entered the Coolest Life DIY Info Edition. So who am I and what gives me any kind of credentials? Let's start with that. 5 years ago, I didn't know a whole lot about RVs. But within the last 5 years, I have learned a lot. One of the first things I did, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, a lot like this one. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos about what to do, what to expect, some about places to travel, but mostly about RV living, things to do, things to take with you, things you might want to try, those kind of things. So I started watching a lot of YouTube videos. The next thing I did was I went to the NRVIA Academy. I'll put that up over here. And I got certified as an RV inspector. Now, there's basically three tiers. There's a, you want to learn how to do stuff on your own and be able to fix your own of everything. About 80% of anything that happens to an RV, you can learn in this class. The next tier is to become an inspector, to be able to identify and test all those systems, to include not just your own, but on other people's RVs. And the next one is to be a certified tech. Okay, so I will say most certified techs could be a qualified inspector, but most inspectors are not a certified tech. And definitely these people here know a lot more about RVing than the people down below, which are just trying to learn about their RVs themselves. So there's basically three tiers. I, of course, am an inspector, as I mentioned, and I've been doing that about 3 years. So I've been in and out of a lot of RVs, fifth wheels, travel trailers, pop-ups, regular old small tow behinds, which is smaller than a tow, class A's, class C's, class B's. I've done inspections on all of these, seen a lot of things. So there's a few things that you might be interested in when doing this. Also, I want to say that I've been inside of this thing, living in it full-time with my wife and a dog for about 2.5 years. So I've definitely, and I've been around the RV industry, obviously staying in RV parks, working it. This is my 4th park I've worked at. So I definitely have been around the industry a lot. Some things you want to consider. Okay, so you're going to go out to buy yourself an RV. I actually wrote some stuff down here on my handy little notebook. This is just my opinion on some of this. Extended warranties. Horrible. Waste of money. The money that you're going to spend on an extended warranty on an RV, actually just like the one they would spend on a car, take that money. If you think it's worth it, take that money and put it in your savings account. At least draw some interest on it. If something happens to your RV or car or whatever, take money out of that savings account. Don't get an extended warranty. They are garbage. Most extended warranties are just going to affect stuff that would be covered by a manufacturer's warranty anyway. Speaking of warranties, understand that when you buy an RV, it is, especially like this one here, it is more closely related to a house than it is a car. Okay? And what I mean by that, when you buy a car, you get everything, and if your alternator goes out, you take it to the dealership and they repair your alternator. Well, when something like that goes out in your RV, like your refrigerator, you can't take it back to the dealership for that. They'll say, sure, bring it back, but there's a difference when you're trying to get repair work done, especially warranty work done, as opposed to you're going to come in and pay out of a pocket because you want an upgrade. So if you're broken down and you've got a bad bearing or something like that on your jalopy here, or a refrigerator's bad, or you got an electrical system problem, you go into warranty list, which means you're way down here on the list when everybody else is going to be up here because they're either paying out of pocket, but it's not part of warranty stuff. So they're going to keep your RV 6 months as they work on it. Some of you, that's not going to be a big problem. Me, I live in mine full time. I'm not going to stay on their property 6 months, nor will they want me on their property for 6 months. But you want something fixed. So, rule number one, stay away from those warranties. They are garbage. I don't care who's putting them out. I don't care if it's Camping World, Mom and Pop, whatever. They're terrible. What you need is to get the thing inspected by a certified inspector. Okay, someone who's reputable. If they say, oh yeah, I could inspect yours, it'd take me about 45 minutes. That inspection's garbage. Well, garbage, that's twice we've talked about garbage. This should be a trash show. So it is horrible. No inspector worth his weight in anything can do an inspection on anything like this or a travel trailer in 45 minutes. They are not inspecting it. They're checking basic systems. It's what they call DPI inspections. In the RV world, they call it dealer prep inspections. They are trash because most of those are about 45 minutes to an hour. Well, you can't go. For me to inspect this, it's going to take me about 3 hours. And I own this one. If I did a full inspection on this one, it's going to take me 3 hours. Because a good inspection, I'm going to go around these seams that you see here. I'm going to test everything. I want to make sure the water heater works on electric and gas. I'm going to make sure that my refrigerator is working on electric and gas, if it's that kind. I'm going to make sure, I'm going to propane test this thing, do what they call a drop test. Most DPI inspections don't going to include a drop test. They assume things work. And I will tell you this, I've been in 2 brand new fifth wheels, reputable dealers, reputable manufacturers, 2 of them that I walked in, you open up their beautiful refrigerator and it doesn't cool. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. Get that thing inspected. And here's why. Some of you might say, well, if I get it inspected, it's no big deal. I don't need it inspected. You know, the dealer will warranty it. So if it breaks down or something, they'll fix it. You're right. What if you get in that travel trailer and you take it 500 miles from town and all of a sudden you get in there and you got an electrical problem because you never got it inspected? Well, the dealer was supposed to inspect you. The dealer's going to say, no problem. Just bring it back to us. You're 500 miles from town. You've got a weekend you thought was going to be good, and all of a sudden you don't have power going to anything. All because you didn't get it inspected. What's the dealer going to say? Again, they're going to say, just bring it back. We'll take care of it. Your weekend has just been ruined. You've got your first bad experience at being an RVer. Whose fault is that? Well, it's yours for not getting it inspected, quite frankly. Now, I will say this. The inspector is not going to guarantee that when you go out someplace it's going to be checked. However, I assure you, they're going to find some things, and I have always, over the 300 plus inspections I've done, I've always found something that the owner or the manufacturer said, whoa, I didn't know that was broke, or, oh, I didn't know that was a problem. It worked last time. 100% of the time, I found something like that. Either I discovered a leak, I discovered there was a surge problem, I discovered there was an issue someplace inside that RV. 100% of the time, every time. I found something that I was able to put on my report and say, this needs to be fixed, and if I owned it, I'd get this thing fixed before I took it out on the road. Okay, so those are some things to be thinking about. Warranty and get that thing inspections. How is it made? Basically, these are made on a manufacturing line. The problem with most RVs is they buy what's on sale. So say they've got 6 RVs on the line, they're about ready to push them out, and all of a sudden they're putting inverters that's going to convert your I said the word convert. It's going to convert your shore power, or your 50 amp, in this case your 50 amp power. It's going to convert it to DC, because some of my lights run on DC power, so they're on 12 volt DC power. Okay, so I need a converter for that. So inverter, I get them mixed up. Anyway, the thing is, the power coming in needs to be inverted to DC power. So the problem that can be is that particular inverter, that manufacturer, that inverter isn't made by the RV company. They purchased those from somebody. Okay, so those things go out as part of that warranty for that company that makes that inverter. The issue I'm trying to explain here is, as the first 2 come out, they bought this kind of inverter, and all of a sudden they ran out, and then all of a sudden they got a new manufacturer, so they'll get a manufacturer, so the very next one on the same assembly line, back to back, has got a different brand of inverter. So you got one inverter on this one inverter on this one. The comparison would be you're getting a car. These first three are Chevrolets. These next two are Fords. And the motor inside of the car. Isn't that strange? Because that happens all the time in building of RVs. The microwave's a different brand. One's got Magic Chef. One's got Everest. You know, there's a different brand of, or Remington or whatever. The stove is the same. A lot of them are Dometic. Coleman might make some. All of a sudden, the next one that comes through is a Coleman stove, but it's still the same name brand RV. So inside that RV, you might have two sitting right next to each other. They're a week apart, and everything inside is different. The layout's exactly the same, but your refrigerator's a different brand. Maybe they're not all Dometics or Lippards. Your slide motors or maybe might be a different brand, because there's a lot of different manufacturers that make those. Now, I will say this. Most manufacturers, they try to stick with the same brand and stick with the same manufacturer of all their parts if they can. They try to stay consistent because they get used to a company and how their connectors are made, and they want to go ahead and keep those. The exact size of the microwave that's going to go in there. They want to stay with that, but they don't always. So you got to keep that in mind when you're buying an RV. Just because you've got a particular refrigerator or stove or microwave inside of your RV doesn't mean the guy next to you's got the same one, even though he's got the exact same model of RV that you have. That's only a month difference in age. So that can happen. So keep that in mind. So those are the main things. I will say this: on your first trip going out on the road, you're going to need a few things. One, make sure that your cable coming out of your RV for power is at least 25 feet. That would be a minimum. Next thing, make sure you have a sewer hose that's at least 25 feet. Unless you're in a state campground, because half those don't have sewer anyway. However, you're still going to need a sewer hose to connect coming out of your RV to something, to someplace. Even if it's one of those little bucket things where you want to use a dump station, you're going to need one of those sewer hoses. Make sure you have a sewer hose. Those two things are the main things. Everyone else will say, get chocks. See, I got a board right there. You don't need those fancy ones or those plastic ones that just wear out. That's a piece of wood I've got underneath, because I want to protect my jack here. I want to protect it from the ground, so I don't want it on a rock. So I'm going to put it on a piece of wood. The next thing I want to do is I can always add wood to it. And yeah, I might be carrying a little extra wood, you're right. But this post here is not going to snap through it either like it can those little yellow plastic ones. Just saying. Me also here with these, I don't chalk my tires. I mean, it's not going anywhere. I'm on a level piece of property here. I'm not going anywhere. I don't carry chalks to chalk my tires. I think it's a waste of time. A lot of people will do that in fifth wheels, travel trailers. They'll chalk tires, and they got a little more stabilizer jacks. You really don't need a lot of stabilizer jacks in Class A. You just don't. They're pretty stable front end to back. A lot of fifth wheels will put a stabilizer jack up underneath this end, and of course underneath the tongue. But you don't need that with a Class A or a Class C or a Class B, which of course are your vans. But I hope that helps. It gives you some insight on RVing as a whole. We talked about a few things. I hope you learned from this. One, don't buy that stupid extended warranty. And to tell you the truth, if I was going to buy another RV, I would sell this one on someplace like RV Trader. I know they didn't. I wish they would advertise with me. But I'd probably sell this on RV Trader, and I would buy mine through RV Trader, because you're going to save a whole lot of money. And you're going to say, well, you're buying someone else's problem. Didn't we just talk about getting the thing inspected? I don't care if it's new or used. Get it inspected. I'm telling you, get it inspected. Inspected by someone who's certified, who's going to spend more than an hour on that thing. They should be doing at least a 3-hour job, no matter how large this is. If it's a smaller one, yeah, they might spend 2.5 hours, but they should spend at least 3 hours doing a full inspection on your RV. So make sure that happens. So get that thing inspected, and to understand that you're going to have a whole lot of different parts in here, and all kinds of booklets that are going to come with. We got one for the refrigerator, one for the stove, one for the air conditioners on top of your RV. You're going to have all kinds of books like that. But just get them inspected and make sure they work on full blast. Make sure they work on your inverter. Make sure they work on your battery power if they're supposed to work on battery power. Just get the thing inspected. That's the main thing you can take away from this, to include warranties are garbage. Warranties are garbage, I'm telling you. They're garbage. I hope this helps you, give you some insight on RVing, and we will see you on down the road. And I hope maybe one day I'll catch you out there living the coolest life.